What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. Welcome back to the party. Today we're going to be talking about some more Chrono Odyssey, but I did have a quick thing to tell you, really cool thing that I found. So recently I got invited to a boot camp. It was related to a YouTube program that's going on that's related to a shopping feature. Anytime that I'm making a video, I can tag different products, and if you go to whatever product page it is and purchase it, I'll get a commission. But while I was searching through the features of that, I noticed that there was actually a Chrono Odyssey book that was selling at Walmart. It's by an author named Spider Jeru and published by Raven's Paw. It was actually published around October, November of last year, and I've been reading it a little bit. It does actually feature a couple of interesting details about the Chrono Odyssey game. Nothing really groundbreaking. It goes into a lot of detail about like the playtest, previous information that we've already kind of, seen, but some stuff people may not have known or have seen if they weren't doing as deep of a look into information at the time. So occasionally I'd love to do some readings from the book. It also talks about what the mindset of the developers is like that are developing Chrono Odyssey, or what you would probably see the developer mindset being in any studio. If you're interested in checking out the book, I will have the product linked. Fair warning, a lot of this information seems to come from ChatGPT. I noticed that while I was reading through a couple of the chapters, but just wanted to make that clear. But now back to the video. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this topic because I think it's one that's very important to mention early on, and it's also one of the things that I think New World made a mistake on in its early lifespan. Actually, I think it's one that many sandbox MMOs have made mistakes on in the past. I think there are pros and cons to it, and there's certain games that have done this well. I think Albion Online might be a good example, but I can't say for sure because I never really, even in its early stages, got super in-depth into the game as a whole. But the topic is about injecting gold into the economy. I feel like if you have a game like New World was, where injecting gold into the economy was very limited, like a lot of the gold came from the quests, a lot of the gold came from like doing the chest run, and primarily coming from other players, I think that's where things can become a problem. They used to have it in the previous testing phases before it launched, where you could actually get a decent chunk of gold through just farming mobs. I think having something like that remain a thing for Chrono Odyssey, even adding different like dynamic events or features that will allow you to get more gold and inject it into the economy, like caravans, for example, through Ashes of Creation. Even though there are problems with that, there's a lot of exploits and stuff like that going on, I like the concept of that. And I'm not sure if it works in this exact way because I haven't played Ashes, but if you're able to actually take those crates to another location, sell the crates there, and then earn gold in that way, then that's something that I think would work really well in a game like Chrono Odyssey too. I've also seen games make certain mistakes, like for example, not letting you sell items to NPCs. You can only sell items to players. I think relying on player interaction and trade for the economy in a lot of cases is a mistake, because that's really based around the idea that you're expecting to have a large player base long term. I think with the exception of a few, it's doomed to fail, or probably going to have a lower player count, because you're always going to have those times where the players will jump onto another game to take a break. Like there might be a new release, something that looks shiny and new, they want to take a break from it, then they want to come back. But if they're not able to have as much fun when they come back, or a lot of it's tied to the player count in general and they can't do anything, well, they're going to be less likely to want to play it. And then it's going to cause a domino effect, because the players that were playing in that time waiting for more people to come back are also going to get bored, and then that's going to cause a chain reaction. There are a few other interesting concepts that I have seen thrown around over the years. I always have to quote this game with a grain of salt, but Chronicles of Illyria did have the interesting idea of having contracts between players, where like if I'm a blacksmith and I want to sign a contract with another player to have them gather like 100 pieces of ore to me so that I can make more weapons and armor and whatnot, then I could sign a contract with them, and then I give them the money, they do the work, and then they give the resources back to me. And then if they didn't do the work, then there would be like a penalty on their side reputation wise, and then there might also be mechanics around refunding your money or something like that too. When it comes to Chrono Odyssey, something they can do alongside, of course, having those dynamic events inject gold into the economy, having dungeons be a way to make gold, even having battlegrounds, like if they do decide to do the PvP battlegrounds and arenas, because they were saying that that could be something they could do easily. Alongside that, maybe having a way for crafters and gatherers to organically make money too. And I'm not talking about the town board system from New World, which is also something they could potentially do in Chrono Odyssey, because I feel like, and stay with me here, that if you're taking that same task from a board versus taking it from like an NPC, I feel like it would be more impactful to take randomized quests based on gathering or crafting from an NPC. I think it'd be really cool if we got gathering and crafting XP from doing that. And of course, in Chrono Odyssey, they already have the system where you can actually level up your player by doing gathering and crafting, which is already amazing on its own, but I think that should also tie into the economy as well. One other thing, although I know it kind of teeters on gambling, but having an investment system. Like, for example, if you want to go to a local merchant guild inside of a town or any kind of crafting NPC, let's say you want to invest X amount of gold into that business, and then there's a lot of people that come over to do farming and crafting contracts, then you could actually make a return on investment for that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Also, I think land ownership and rentals could have its place. For example, you rent out some farmland for people to use. I know I'm getting into crazy stuff, but let's say you or your guild have enough money to own a tavern or like a blacksmith or farm or any kind of bench or station inside of a town, and then people crafting at that bench will give you money, then I think that could be really, really cool as well. I think the way Albion did it is fantastic, and I'd love to see that kind of thing in another MMO. But of course, still having gold circulate throughout the auction house and do player questing, other features that are already built into the game, like the chrono gates, for example, I think all of that is going to be really good too. But please let me know what you guys think about this idea, or if you feel like there's any other kinds of features that could work really well for injecting gold into the economy. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and have a great rest of your day. Farewell.